Today you're going to learn how to write the numbers 0 through 9. I'm going to show you the number word and then you're going to see the number. The first one is the 0. Let's take a look at it. First, the word 0 beginning with the Z, the letter E, the letter R, and the letter O. The number 0 begins at the midline with a circular down touching the baseline and comes back up and closes. Let's look at it again. Circular down, come up and close. Now watch as I write the number 0 on my paper. Beginning at the midline with a circular down touching the baseline and then coming back up and closing. Hold your pencil in the air and trace the 0. Ready? Begin. Circular down, come up and close. Check your writing position. Make sure you're sitting correctly. Put your pencil at the midline, and I would like for you to write the 0 on your paper. Ready? Write. Circular down, come up and close. We can make the 0 to the count of 1, and we would just say 1. Put your pencil at the midline, and I would like for you to make the 0 again as I count. Ready? Right. 1. Make sure that you started at the midline and that you touched the baseline and that you closed your 0. Now let's take a look at the number 1. First the letter O, then the letter N, and the letter E for the number word 1. The 1 begins at the midline with a slant to the baseline. Let's look at it again. Slant. Now watch as I write the 1 on my paper. Beginning at the midline, it simply slants to the baseline. Hold your pencil in the air and trace the 1 with me. Ready? Begin. 1. Put your pencil at the midline and I would like for you to write the 1. Ready? Write. 1. The 1 is used with the count of 1. Put your pencil at the midline and I would like for you to make another 1. Ready? Write. 1. Now let's take a look at the number 2. First the letter T, then the letter W, and the letter O. Cross the T to complete the number word 2. The number 2 begins slightly above the midline with a little touch down, then a curve forward and slants to the baseline, and then a little curved line for the finish. Let's look at it again. Touch down, curve forward, slant, finish. Now watch as I write it on my paper. Beginning with the little touch down, the curve forward and slant, and the finish. Hold your pencil in the air and I would like for you to trace this. Ready? Begin. Touch down, curve forward, slant, finish. Put your pencil slightly above the midline and I would like for you to make the number 2. Ready? Begin. Touch down, curve forward, slant, finish. We can write the number 2 to the count of 2. It would be the touch down, the curve forward and slant is 1, the finish is 2. Put your pencil slightly above the midline and I will count for you as you make your second 2. Ready? Write. 1, 2. Now let's take a look at the number 3. First the letter T, then the letter H, the letter R, E, and E again, and cross the T to complete the number word 3. The number 3 begins with a touch down, slightly above the midline, then a curve forward and around, touching the baseline and finishing. Let's look at it again. Around, around, and finish. Now watch as I write the number 3 on my paper. Beginning with the little touch down, then curve forward and around, and finish. Hold your pencil in the air and trace this with me. Ready? Begin. Touch down, curve forward and around, Put your pencil slightly above the midline and let's make the 3. Ready? Begin. Touch down, curve forward and around, finish. We can make the number 3 to the count of 2. Watch as I do that. It would simply be the little touchdown, then 1, 2. Put your pencil slightly above the midline, and let's make the 3 as I count. Ready? Begin. 1, 2. Now let's look at the number 4. First the letter F for the number word 4, the letter O, the letter U, and the letter R to complete the word. The number 4 begins at the midline with a slant and then swings to the right. Then you lift your pencil and make another slant that begins at the midline and pulls down to the baseline. Let's look at it again. Slant, swing, slant. Now I'll write it on my paper. Beginning at the midline with a slant, then a swing, then lift the pencil and slant. Hold your pencil in the air and I would like for you to trace it. Ready? Slant, swing, and slant. We can make this to the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Put your pencil at the midline and I will count for you. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, lift the pencil, 3. Let's try one more. Ready? Right. 1, 2, lift the pencil, 3. Now let's look at the number 5. First the letter F, then the letter I, the letter V, and the letter E, and we dot the I to complete the number word 5. The number 5 begins at the midline with a little slant, then curves forward and down, touching the baseline and coming back up slightly for the finish there. Then you lift the pencil and put your little line on the midline for the finish. Let's look at it again. Slant, curve around, finish. Now watch as I write the 5 on my paper. Beginning with a little slant, then curve forward and down, lift the pencil, and put the top on. We can make this to the count of 3. It would go 1, 2, 3. Hold your pencil in the air and I would like for you to trace the 5. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, 3. Put your pencil at the midline and I'll count for you as you make the 5. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, 3. Let's make one more. Put your pencil at the midline. Ready? Right. 1, 2, 3. Now let's look at the number 6. First the letter S, the letter I, and the letter X. Then we dot the I and cross the X to complete the number word 6. The number 6 begins at the midline and curves down to the baseline and makes a little vertical loop. Let's look at it again. Curve down, loop. Watch as I write it on my paper. Beginning at the midline, curves down, and makes a loop. We can do this to the count of 1. Hold your pencil in the air and trace the 6. Ready? Begin. 1. Put your pencil at the midline and make the number 6. Ready? Right. 1. I would like for you to make one more. Put your pencil at the midline and I will count for you again. Ready? Right. 1. Now let's look at number 7. First the letter S, then the letter E, the letter V, the letter E again, and the letter N to complete the number word 7. The number 7 begins with a little touchdown beginning slightly above the midline, then a little double curve along the midline, and a slant to the baseline for the finish. Let's look at it again. Touchdown, curve, and slant. Now watch as I write it on my paper. Beginning at just slightly above the midline with a little touchdown, little double curve, and then a slant to the baseline. We can do this number to the count of 2. It would be 1, 2. Hold your pencil in the air and trace the 7 with me. Ready? Begin. 1, 2. Put your pencil slightly above the midline and I would like for you to make the 7. Ready? Right. 1, 2. Let's make one more. Put your pencil slightly above the midline. Ready? Begin. 1, 2. Now let's look at number 8. First the letter E, then the letter I, the letter G, the letter H, and the letter T. Dot the I and cross the T to complete the number word 8. The number 8 begins slightly below the midline, curves back and around, then down to the baseline, and comes back up to the midline with a slant. Let's look at it again. Curve back and around and finish. Now watch as I write the number 8 on my paper, beginning slightly below the midline and then curving back and around, going back to the baseline, and then a slant up to the midline. Hold your pencil in the air and trace the 8. Ready? Begin. Curve back and around, now down, then come back up and slant back up to the midline for the finish. We can do this number just simply to the count of 1, so it would just be 1. Put your pencil slightly below the midline, and I would like for you to make the 8. Ready? Begin. 1. Let's try the 8 again. Ready? Begin. 1. Make sure that you came back up to the midline. Now let's take a look at the number 9. First the letter N, then the letter I, the letter N again, and the letter E, and we dot the I to complete the number word 9. The number 9 begins at the headline and it curves back and around, only going part way down to the baseline, closes and then slants to the baseline. Let's look at it as it appears again. Curve, close, and slant. Now watch as I write the 9 on my paper. Beginning at the midline, curving back and down, then coming up and closing, then slant to the baseline for the finish. We can do the 9 to the count of 2. It would go 1, 2. Hold your pencil in the air and trace the 9 with me. Ready? Begin. 1, 2. Put your pencil at the midline, and I would like for you to make the number 9. Ready? Begin. 1, 2. Let's make one more. Ready? Right. 1, 2. Now let's look at some of the numbers that you've learned today. Remember, with the number 4, you want to begin with the 1, 2, and then lift your pencil for 3. With the number 5, it is again 1, 2, and 3 is the top. I hope that you will practice your numbers in your math work.